Did you know how this food is being prepared in the ancient time? Is how they prepare food similar to what we know? Let's find it out! Well, fire is the most important element of cooking. It isn't the only heat source which populations around the world, like ancient Greece, cook with. In the frosty climes of Ireland, Vikings have been harnessing hot springs to slow cook and tenderize meat for about 24 hours, while the sun-drenched outback of Australia sees cooking bread in the heat of ashes. As you notice, class, they use natural way to cook food. Many of these traditional techniques like hot spring, cooking with ashes, stone boiling, or earth oven may be still in use today, either preserved by the people who've been using them or evolve into new technologies with the help of modern technology we are using nowadays. Either way, both is used to cook and bring food to our table. Since technology is evolving, these traditional cooking methods are replaced and enhanced to make our cooking easier than before. During this present time, we still use methods of cooking which includes boiling, baking, roasting meat products. But due to the evolution of technology and researches, it was named as methods of cooking meat with the use of dry heat cooking and moist heat cooking methods. When we say dry heat method, it refers to any cooking technique where the heat is transferred to the food item without using any moisture. Dry heat cooking typically involves high heat with temperatures of at least 300 degrees Fahrenheit or hotter. Dry heat methods involves very high temperatures with a short cooking time, while moist heat method includes any technique that involves cooking with moisture, meaning we're going to use steams, water, stock, wine, or other liquid ingredients. Cooking temperature for moist heat method much lower than the dry heat method. So this temperature must range to 140 degrees Fahrenheit to 212 degrees Fahrenheit because water doesn't get any hotter than that. This requires longer and slower cooking time. Let's discuss dry heat method one by one. So what other methods are you going to use using dry heat? So we have the roasting and baking. This form of dry heat cooking that use hot, dry air to cook food. Like other dry heat cooking methods, roasting and baking brown the surface of the food, which is called a Maillard reaction. It develops a complex flavors and aroma to our food. This happens inside an oven and with the temperature of at least 300 degrees Fahrenheit or much hotter. A convection oven which circulates hot air throughout the oven can enhance the browning reaction of the food. The second one is the grilling and broiling. This is a dry heat cooking method that relies on heat being conducted through the air from an open flame. This type of cooking also produces a browning reaction on the surface of the food. Grilling cooks hot and fast because air is a poor conductor of heat. Boiling and grilling requires the food to be quite close to the heat source so that it can be cooked quickly. The third one is sautéing and pan frying. This is a form of dry heat cooking that uses a very hot pan and a small amount of fat to cook the food very quickly. When sautéing, it is important, class, to heat the pan first for a minute and then add small amount of fat and let it get hot as well before you add any food item on the pan. This hot fat helps brown the surface of the food. And the last one for dry heat method is the deep frying. Since deep frying involves submerging food in hot liquid fat, it might take some time to get used to the idea that it's actually a form of dry heat cooking. It uses heat conduction and natural convection to transfer heat to food submerged by means of fat, which is the oil. Now that we have discussed dry heat method of cooking, let's move to moist heat method of cooking. The first one is the simmering, where liquid used must be a bit hotter for about 205 degrees Fahrenheit and above. Here, we will see bubbles forming and gently rising to the surface of the water, but the water still isn't at full boiling point, meaning it surrounds the food in water that maintains a more or less constant temperature. Simmering cooks food very evenly. It will be an excellent choice for culinary preparations including stocks, soup, starchy items such as potatoes or pasta, and others. This means we cook food in much longer time than usual. The second one is the boiling. So this is the hottest among the other methods of moist heat method, where the water reaches its highest possible temperature, which is 212 degrees Fahrenheit. It's actually the least likely to be used for cooking because the violent agitation caused by the boiling point can be too rough on food and will damage it. The third is the steaming heat method, which employs hot steam to conduct heat to the food item. Steaming can be done on a stove top with a pot containing a small amount of liquid that is brought to a simmer. The item to be cooked is then placed in a basket suspended above the liquid and with pot covered. And the last will be braising and stewing. It is a form of moist heat cooking in which the item to be cooked is partially covered with liquid and then simmered slowly at a low temperature. Though it can be done on a stove top, braising is best done in the oven because the heat fully surrounds the pot and causes the food to cook more evenly.
And there you have it, dry and moist heat cooking method. Now let's answer the following questions to be flashed on the screen.